control it.
There we go. Where is everybody? I'm trying to find out why. What is this?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
Where they at?
Somewhere along this journey, you may see some.
What journey are we on? Where are we? Where are the people?
Where are we?
Where are we?
Where are we, Brian?
I don't.
What are we doing, Brian?
I don't know. We live? Are we? Is that
Brian?
Whitney? Is that who I see?
Point. It must be.
Must be indeed.
Indeed. That was sudden. Very sudden.
I like to give you surprises.
I see that. You do a good job.
I do.
Especially,
I try my best.
We're always on the same page, so
surprise. We just went live. What it do, everybody?
What it do, neighborhood?
It's your boy Al.
The homie Lavis.
And we have arrived.
So let's get it popping.
What it do, Nerd Vengers. It is another Thursday. You are here with your boys on After Dark, the Den of Nerds, live, back home. We back home. It feels good. You know that feeling like when you go, it's always cool like to go stay on somebody else's crib. And you're like, hey, what's up, man? And everything else. But then you get to your own bed and you like,
definitely.
It feels.
I can't sleep at anybody else's place. So
no, it's hard.
It was really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like I go out of town and like, oh, you can crash on my couch. No, bro. I think I'm gonna go on and get this hotel room. I feel more comfortable with that.
I appreciate you though.
Yeah, I surely do. Surely do appreciate it. But yeah, nah,
we good.
Yeah, all the way good. All the way good. So how's your week, man? Has your week been good though? Like, is your week been good? I was about to ask you the
same question. It's been all right.
It's been all right. It's been all right. We almost to Friday, and it is a 4th of July Friday. So let me see some multicolored saber emojis, and we can just use them for fireworks in the chat if you're ready for the 4th of July weekend.
Yes,
you have any plans, man? You do anything in particular?
Man, finally resting. I got my car where I wanted it. And I am just gonna chill this weekend. Sounds like a plan for me. Pop off some fireworks.
You know what I'm gonna be doing? They got me smoking meat, man.
Oh man.
Oh, but the good part about that is I got plenty of sauce.
Of course you got plenty of sauce.
Right. Because if I didn't, yes.
Right.
If you don't got the sauce, then that's your loss. Son. We starting early tonight, man. We starting early.
Man.
Early.
Boy, man.
Shout out to everybody with the sauce. Oh, man.
Got sauce.
Oh, do what now?
I said they better have the sauce.
They better. Yeah. Well, I agree with you 1,000%. 1,000%.
We know how that is.
Oh, that is so damn good that it'll make you want to slap the out of your mother and everybody else too.
I'm trying to tell you,
man.
That sauce, we put that on everything.
On everything.
Yes, you can gamble now, Whitney.
Oh,
all
man.
about that gambling. Y'all always gambling. I hope y'all donate the proceedings. That's all I hope.
I'm just saying, where's the after dark tax on all this gambling?
I'm trying to tell you.
Some people be coming up. I ain't come up, man. I ain't make that much money on that, man. I ain't make that much. So I'm just trying to figure out why I don't be getting my cut on some of this bread, man. We got to talk
about that.
We got to talk to somebody. We got to talk to
somebody. Got to let us know.
Somebody got to let us know, because some of y'all out here making money and I ain't seen a dime. Where the love? Where the love?
My said, what if she's sauceless?
Oh, we know that's a lie. Mas got sauce for everybody.
Don't she?
She got more sauce than a little bit. We know this. Playing games. But man, what kind of week are we talking about with this nerdy stuff that we get into, man? Like, we got some Spidey news. Is that what we got this week? Spidey news.
Man, apparently we got some Spidey news about a new costume leak.
New costume leak. Man,
and
like
some concepts,
costume leaks, and of course, we would find, or should I say, the internets would find a way to make it about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Of course. Somehow.
That's just always.
That's what they do.
That's always what they do. But yeah, man, we got so apparently we got some Lego leaks. Got the Spider-Man showing a new costume and whatnot, and giving us some clues into what could be going on in Spider-Man No Way Home. So what you say, man? You think we should try to throw this up and let, because I think the homie Josh explained it so well on the Nerdy News Rundown. If you are not watching the Nerdy News Rundown, what the hell you doing?
Right. Missing out is what you're doing.
Wake the up.
Right.
But that's a different show though. That's not us. We don't say that on here. We don't do that.
We don't do that here. No.
Yeah, man. But let's get the projector up. Let's get the projector up, and let's see here what we got. Oops, we got to change that. I got to. Look, I'm showing them behind the fourth wall. Okay, look, they family at this point. But yeah, let's let Josh bring it on in and tell us what's going down.
In there. It says right here, Spider-Man 3 No Way Home Lego set reveals Doctor Strange Sanctum Battle. Okay?
Right.
So, reading right here, it says the official Lego website listed a new set based on Spider-Man No Way Home named 76185 Spider-Man at the Sanctum Workshop. Here's the image right there. Pretty freaking cool. The product will come with MJ, Doctor Strange, Wong in a new costume. It's Party Boy Wong. And Spider-Man donning a brand new suit with gold accents. The Sorcerer Supreme also comes with a brand new mold for his cape piece. Very cute. The Quartet seems to be up against a big green monster.
He meant quartet, y'all. He meant quartet.
Right.
I was going to let Josh make it, but no, Josh, we ain't letting you make it. Quartet. Put that in the book. We'll find out a definition for it later.
Totally in the book.
Chet, proceed, sir.
Whose origin may or may not be multiversal. The battle is taking place in a workshop in the Sanctum Sanctorum, where many artifacts and oddities are scattered around the place. Here's what's in there right here. In fact, let me see if I can open this up so we can get a better look at it. Yeah, check this out. Pretty cool. You got your new Doctor Strange of bigger cape here. They did say moving forward that Doctor Strange was going to be more comic book looking, a little bit more comic booky with his costume. You've got MJ here. You've got Party Boy Wong. I don't know what's going on here. He's got like a fro kind of thing going on, and it looks like he's a party boy. Could this be a multiversal version of Wong in which he was a real party animal or something? And then you have the new looking Spider-Man here. Very, very cool. And some kind of weird green monster that they're apparently fighting. There's the
All right, so let's just pause for a second. Does this? I wasn't. Maybe I missed it, but did the article confirm that was Wong? Couldn't that be Ned?
It could be Ned.
Because I got questions. If that's Wong, but then that was also Wong, and I get that timelines may be different and all that, but does that look like the Wong we saw in Shang-Chi, in the trailer for Shang-Chi?
Okay, so even if it is Wong and he does look different, the Shang-Chi, you got to remember, happened during the blip. Like that, during that 5-year part. So like Wong would probably still be donning the same garbs.
Wait a minute. Then something don't make sense. Because if he was during the blip, if this took place during the blip, then how could that be Wong? Because didn't Wong get blipped?
I don't think they confirmed whether he did or didn't.
Because
if somebody correct me or not, but I don't remember if
because I just know I remember at the end he popped up with Doctor Strange when they came out of the little. So I guess maybe I assume maybe that's my fault.
I think the speculation, right? The speculation I believe on that is because I don't think they confirm or deny whether he's blipped, but we can most likely say he probably wasn't. So when Doctor Strange came back, he contacted him and had him do it. But I don't know. Like I don't really remember if they said he was or was not, and I think most people it just wasn't a question. So this would be the confirmation if he is in Shang-Chi that he wasn't blipped, and he was probably trying to enter the tournament to get the rings. Because apparently the rings are supposed to be like for up grabs, and that's kind of why there's a whole fight thing going on.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I don't know. I would say, let me see here. I got an image, and it does say Wong on the box.
Okay, so then Wong got a little soul then, or maybe they just decided to give Lego Wong a little soul.
Maybe you can take that off, and they have that little Lego piece that they usually have.
There you go. You got
interchangeable Wong.
Interchangeable Wong. I'm with it. Hey, I'm just saying, like, I see he got them purple pants on though, man. I need to find out who his tailor is.
Right.
Because I'm gonna need a pair of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Josh could be on point with the whole party boy thing, but I don't see why, or I don't understand why his garb would be different. I would probably say, because I haven't had the time to actually look into it that deeply, but I would probably comb previous like comics and see if maybe they decided to make the toy version like more comic book instead. That's possible. But it would be kind of interesting to see, because you don't never really see Doctor Strange without Wong, like
right. You're right.
Hand in hand. So it would be weird if maybe he showed up and Wong wasn't with him. So that makes sense why that would be him. But I mean, he's got the hair and everything. I don't know. He has a little hair. He don't got a fro.
Yeah.
So maybe Lego, they can't really like copy that. You can't copy a little hair on a Lego character. So he's gonna get whole headed up.
Yeah, they gave him the soul glow.
Did they though? He about to get that braided next week. We're gonna have hair braided Wong come out the week after they drop this.
No way comb. No way comb for real.
Exactly what they're gonna do. But the costume, it looks pretty dope. To be completely honest, I mean, on the box you get a little insight on it, but they did have other leaks that had a better version, better insight on it, like a full body version. And from the way it looks, they kind of meshed together his armor spider from the what was it, the last one that came out, Far From Home. And melded that one with the costume that he had at the end, so it's kind of like the black version of the armor suit.
You talking about Spidey stuff, right?
Yeah, Spidey. The Spidey costume.
Let's go on and because I think we got a little bit better of a close-up if we move on.
Yeah.
The official listing right there. Now, it says down here, this seems to confirm that the location seen in a previously released promo picture. Let's check this out. Yeah, this is promo stuff where it looks like they're in the Sanctum. And we've seen this before, right? Yeah, definitely looks like they're in the Sanctum there. Back here. That image is core to the trio Peter, Ned, and MJ, and they will seek refuge at the Sorcerer Supreme's abode. Their presence of an emerald entity attacking the set's heroes is interesting, as it's unknown whether this character originates from the multiverse or not. While trying to escape the public's view following the unveiling of his secret identity, it is possible that Peter and his friends may have simply interrupted the Sorcerer Supreme when arriving at his doorstep. The wall crawler may therefore have to help Doctor Strange dealing with his problem before he can help Peter with his. Alternatively, this could be a consequence of the multiverse forming, with weird and wacky life forms breaking through the MCU's main timeline from other universes or being created by the multiverse itself. Peter Parker's new suit is another major reveal, seeming to be a hybrid of Avenger Infinity War's Iron Spider suit with the Far From Home red and black Bosco suit. This may indicate the Spider-Man getup is simply a modded version of the costume, with the gold armor plating and gauntlets just providing a bit of extra protection. Spider-Man isn't the only character with a new fit. Doctor Strange and Wong are adorning both new accessories. Wong has a coat to go over his original costume, which certainly makes a statement with its vibrant colors. Party Boy Wong confirmed. Sorcerer Supreme also notably has his Eye of Agamotto again, which was notably absent from the Avengers Endgame, as Stephen Strange is no longer has to conceal the time stone in his necklace. It'll be interesting to see why he has the chosen piece of jewelry once again. Pretty freaking cool. Just a cool look at new stuff. And again, Lego sets, they're weird. The leakage is weird there because you don't know ever for sure if this is something that's actually going to be adopted in the film. Lego sets did reveal the big battle with Thanos in Infinity War that was going to happen at the Avengers Mansion. Remember, there was that big Avengers Mansion battle set piece leak, and that is where the big battle happens in Endgame. After that, friggin' place gets blown to pieces and leveled to the ground by Thanos and his army. So this presumably does hint at the fact that, yes, there'll be some kind of a battle at the Sanctum. Wong's got a new look. Doc Strange is still rocking the Time Stone, or at least the Eye of Agamotto. Could he actually have the Time Stone back? Will the events of Loki have something to do with the setting up of Spider-Man 3? We've got more videos and stuff on that for just the purposes of this sort of news video here, this is the things that, or these rather are the things that nerds are talking about. What's the deal with Wong's new costume? What's the deal with Peter's new costume? What's the deal with this green monster? Why are they fighting at the Sanctum? And does Doctor Strange have the Eye of Agamotto back? Now
it's right, because broke that down very nicely, but I now have some questions because we mentioned the green monster. What did said green monster look like to you?
In the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
He did look like another character that reminded me of Abomination, but when I looked deeper into it, it is still the Abomination. The biggest difference that they did in this one is they made him more comic book looking. So when you get to see him in the Hulk, you got the big green monster. He didn't have any clothes on whatsoever. This version seems to be more comic book, where he's actually wearing the pants and he has a little more spikier ears.
Right.
He still kind of looks like he did in the Hulk, but I feel like they just, they touched him up a bit.
Yeah,
totally touched him up a bit.
No doubt, definitely touched him up. So let's go back to this Spider-Man costume again real quick, because I kind of like this new look, but when are they going to, is this as creative as we can get, or you think we're going to see other suits as we move into the movie? Because I'm kind of, of the mind that suit is dope, but it's just like you said, a hybrid of the in-game costume and the one that he had in Far From Home. I'm my Spidey fandom, I have a partiality towards the dope costumes, like the Spider-Man game, for example. What made that game so dope is you had so many dope Spider-Man costumes. And I get that they're giving us multiples, and I think every movie so far has had at least 2 different Spidey outfits. So we probably get the same thing with this one, but I find it interesting that this is the one that they, that we see first off. Even though it's a Lego leak and all that good stuff, it's like,
right.
You think? Go ahead.
To me, I feel like this is probably one of many. You got to think, because I believe in Far From Home, the way that they start that one off, you get the Endgame costume to start that one.
Right.
Then you get where he's like the Night Monkey, black suited Spider-Man for a little bit.
Right.
And then you get the Endgame black costume that he's rocking. So, they always big up the costumes for each movie that comes out. So there's a possibility that we could start it off with the last costume that he had, the black suit. Like maybe Doctor Strange or maybe Happy's around again, and he kind of puts the two together, so letting him use the tech so he can make a new suit, and he kind of puts both of them together. And then toward the end of that, there's a good chance that he might even get a whole nother suit, or they might pay homage and go backwards and give him the old suit again or something like that. But I feel like maybe this is one of at least a few.
I got you.
And that's probably why they still were able to leak it and it not be something like Marvel's complaining about. You know what I'm saying? Because they get the money off of all the toys and stuff that come out from Spider-Man, not Sony. So Marvel probably don't really care that it might be a low jab. Like, we'll see in the next week or so if this causes any controversy. But I just think this is like one of a few, like I said. And we'll just have to see by the time we get to the trailer whether or not it's they show it at all. They might actually show it in the trailer at some point.
Gotcha.
So we shall see.
Indeed, we shall. Now, we definitely got to talk about the kind of the spider elephant in the room, if you will, and that is, in fact, that these leaks did not show anything of a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man or an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And so apparently the internet in all its glory decided to kind of troll the fact that this is, in some instances, proof that we will not get these two in Spider-Man No Way Home. What say you, homie? Is the internet tripping once again?
I say there's no evidence that says that they aren't, even because they're not on the box. Like, You could get them as a separate add-on piece that comes out after they drop this. This is not something to me that's like, oh, okay, so they didn't include it on the box, so they must not be. I would say if they're smart, careful marketing would say you don't drop that kind of a leak. A costume leak is fine, especially you got the movie coming out in December. We're waiting for the trailer to come out.
Right,
A costume leak, who cares? Nobody cares about that.
No,
but it would be a big deal if we got whatever kind of toys that reference them two being in the movie. I mean, especially for the Toby character, because there's so much speculation on whether he could come back and be this regular old Spider-Man, Spider-Verse version, or he can come around and play a Ben Parker type deal. Like, we don't know. So I think, even though we know it's kind of the worst kept secret with all the other evidence that we have saying that they're in the movie, that would just be too blatant to give it away, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and they're still trying to keep it a secret. So
Facts.
I don't think that matters as far as them two being in there. But to backtrack just a little bit,
okay.
I did kind of want to touch on the toy that is holding Wong on the back of one of the boxes.
Okay.
And to me, it looks like that could actually be Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, I'm going to say that kind of worries me a little bit.
Really? So why is that?
Well, because like canonically, Scorpion has always been a dude in a costume, you know, like he was surgically put into this costume. You know, and you know, that's what we're used to when we see Scorpion.
So you're thinking that that's the actual Scorpion, that
I'm thinking
he's a
somewhere
robot
or another.
Scorpion.
They're kind of, maybe I feel like maybe they're doing the Rhino thing. Like instead of making it a man in a costume, they made it a man in a robot suit.
Got
you. And to kind of humanize and simplify, like Marvel does in these movies, they could easily do the same thing, you know, bring back Paul Giamatti's character and have him make whoever made that, if it wasn't him, have him make Scorpion a costume or a mech. And then now, you know, Spider-Man got two mechs to fight alongside Doc Ock, alongside a Chameleon. You know what I'm saying? Which would make, like I said, to simplify it, okay. But at the same time, like, no, man, I want a dude in a costume that was flailing a tail and spitting acid, that hot fire.
And I didn't even think about it that way. I just assumed that it would be a situation where that's more like a Scorpion vehicle. Because I'm thinking, nah, they wouldn't do Scorp like that. Then you done mentioned Rhino again, and I'm like, see, that's that Spider-Man movie I try to forget. That's the one I try to forget. But oh man, like that's very interesting though. I'm really curious to see how that plays out now, because you're absolutely right. Like Scorpion is known for the costume and for the acid, and how, especially when you think back again, my biggest point of reference for Spider-Man is the animated series, and that Scorpion had his own costume, just like the Rhino did. Now, that was, again, part of the reason why that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, I just didn't rock with it, was because I felt like they took too many liberties with the villains, and it was like, nah, this don't feel like Spider-Man to me. Like, Garfield didn't feel like Spider-Man to me. Definitely didn't feel like Peter Parker, and you know, the villains just didn't really hit. Now, that being said, I am looking forward to seeing if Jamie Foxx Electro is coming back, because I thought that was kind of a unique take, and Electro is, in my opinion, one of those type of villains that you could kind of take some liberties with, because there wasn't, you know, I looked at him as more being iconic from the standpoint of his villainry, other than like his costume or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he just had on looked like some spandex with fishnets. And it was getting it in. But I wasn't upset too much with Jamie Foxx's interpretation of it. It was a little bit out there, but I'm excited to see how they would play that again. But you look at the rest of it, man, and it's like, I don't know about that. If you write about the Scorpion thing, man. Ooh.
It worries me. I mean, I don't want to be right about it. I would totally love to be completely wrong about that, and it just be some kind of like Scorpion mech. But at the same time, it's like Marvel simplify, Sony control in a way,
you right,
and multiversal implications mean that if they're bringing back those old Sinister Six characters in any kind of way, Electro in any kind of way, they're gonna maybe make them look a little different. Like I think the Jamie Foxx version might actually look a little different. Costume wise, I would say it'd probably be a little more canon, make it a little more green instead of him being black. And I didn't really mind the color. I thought it was kind of cool seeing like what they did to his face, the pigment. And making him like look like he actually had like electricity going through him and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of cool. But I mean, even the comic version, I'm not too fond of the ones that's more canon in the 90s with the mask and the green costume and all that types of stuff. I would like to see them like do a unique spin on that. But like, how do you like? You can still fix it, but I don't see them going that route. Like even with Rhino, I don't see them going with the route that says it's a dude in a costume. There's not too much. I mean, because they haven't introduced mutants or anything like that would make any of that type of stuff canon to where it would justify or explain a dude is that strong as Rhino. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, even scientifically, they haven't really touched on that. They don't have a Norman Osborn, Oscorp. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little difficult to explain it outside of it being in a mech.
Well, I think it's not as difficult now because of the, as you just said, multiversal implications. Because you might not have, or the general audience might not know, or might not be able to just assume mutant or something like that, or that they haven't been introduced in the MCU as of yet. But because you're talking about multiverse stuff, you could certainly kind of just explain it away that way if you wanted to keep it simple from the start. Now you could come back if you wanted to really dive into who those villains were, then you come back and you can explain like their origin or whatever if you go that route. But if this movie's going the way that we think it is, and it's going to have all of these multiversal implications, then maybe from that standpoint, you could bring in a more traditional Electro, a more traditional Scorpion, or something like that, or Rhino. I'm sorry, I said Electro, but I meant Rhino. Maybe you could go that route, or maybe you could, do that with Scorpion, and maybe still do both, where he still does get the mech. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, dude, you're in a costume. What is that costume gonna do for you? Kind of like they kind of do a tongue in cheek kind of situation with it would be cool. But let's just get to it, man. Like, what do you feel about this? I mean, I know we touched on it, but like this whole thing about Toby and Andrew. So they're not in the Lego League, which again, that's to me is not a big deal. Like you said, we still haven't even seen the trailer yet. But the homie Josh brought up a good point towards the end of the rundown, in that White Suge and Sony might very well decide that they want to keep this Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire stuff under wraps all the way up to the movie premiere. So we might not, I could see a scenario where we don't get a peep from them dudes in any type of promotional material leading up to the movie. I could totally see that. Now, my question to you is, do you think that's a smart move, or do you think they would be kind of ice skating uphill, since everybody knows at this point that it's pretty much a given they're going to be in this movie?
I don't know. I'll have to probably go with the latter and say, mother always trying to ice skate uphill, and they're just going to keep it under wraps. I mean, Marvel's good for doing that. They like trying to at least keep people in certain speculations until you get to it. I guess at this point, whether they are or aren't is a good thing for us. It keeps us interested. But I mean, like I said, the evidence says there's a lot of evidence that says they're in the movie. Like there really is. So I would say, even if you take that at a loss and just keep it out there, like all this evidence is out there, whatever. We don't have to confirm nor deny, but I'd say it's probably a good strategy to keep it all the way up until the movie. I mean, we got the end of the year, and it just keeps us speculating on if they are in the movie, what they're going to be doing, what their roles are, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like it would be a good payoff for them in the end. It's like, and I can see those interviews coming out in the future about this time point where they're trying to keep it under wraps and not say anything about it and blah blah blah, and how difficult certain things might have been. But I think in the end that they're looking for that end of the satisfaction for them to be okay. Oh yes, like when we get to that point and we've got zero confirmation or whatever denial throughout the year, when we see that they're in the movie, I still think that people are gonna get hype, like more hype than they would be if it was completely leaked out that Toby and Andrew are both in this movie and blah 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 blah. Yes. I think by the time you got to the movie at that point with us knowing it for sure, we would be more anticipating what would be happening instead of the anticipation coming at that moment in that movie, in that time place when you see it. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's just a hype effect, which is fun, which is good.
Yeah, and that's go ahead. Yeah, and that's that part right there, what you just said. Yeah. That the hype. We're in a point right now where we're starting to see kind of the tip of the iceberg, if you will, in terms of this big return back to theaters and getting back to that place where movie premieres are events. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that, I know we still got the whole hybrid format with certain stuff. I think Black Widow is streaming. They're going to have that available for streaming this weekend, I think. Yeah. So, we still have the hybrid situation going on. Totally get that. But I feel like, movie theaters and the public are building back up to this big return to movie theaters. And I think this weekend especially is going to be a telltale sign, because not only do you have Black Widow, but you got the Fast and Furious movie that just dropped not too long ago. So you got people that'll probably try to go check that out this weekend. I'm sure there's a couple of other flicks out there. And so we're starting to get to this point where that hype is going to start really being prevalent again. And you want that if you are Feige in the MCU, you want that kind of momentum, especially, and we definitely gonna get into some Loki talk here in a little bit, but especially when you have the momentum of like a show like Loki for your streaming service already. And now you got, even though it's a Sony movie, you got Spider-Man getting ready to drop, Black Widow's dropping, you're starting to get to that point where now we starting to see the momentum build up. And it's getting to that point where we about to open the floodgates. So that hype, that hype is not just real, but it's necessary. And so I would actually prefer it if they didn't reveal anything with Toby, even though we know it already. But I want, from a hype standpoint, we know because we are sweaties, we nerds, we in here, we about that life. But normies aren't really checking for it like that. No, the normies aren't on Discord and Twitter looking at this stuff. They go in and they might check on stuff here and there, but they not in it like that. So I want that feeling where you sitting in the movie and you not just enjoying it, but you taking in like other people's like shock and awe. It's kind of like I liken it to what I did with matter of fact, with, I hate to even say it because it's the last movie I can think of that I did it with, but The Last Jedi. And I went to go see The Last Jedi with like 3 different people who hadn't seen the movie, because I just wanted to see their reactions to certain parts of that movie. And then I wanted to ask them if they were as confused as I was by the time they got to the end of that movie. But it was like, that is what, like, for me, that's where I get my enjoyment now. It's like, the same thing just happened with the Loki show with the wife. Like, I watched it that night, you know what I'm saying? And then we watched it the following day, but I'm not even watching the show. I'm looking at her and waiting for her reaction. Right. And it's just like, that's where I get my enjoyment now. It's like, I love the content and I get into the stories and all of that, but I like that interaction where you get to see other people like just wigging out, flipping out, and losing it, going crazy and whatnot. Like that's what we need. You know what I'm saying? Especially coming off of the tail end of, a crazy 18 to 24 months. This is what, this is what you want to see people getting back to. And it's like, I don't think, I get that people are kind of anti, I don't know if you want to call it anti-Toby. Wishy-washy. Wishy-washy. Exactly. And so it's like, trollers are going to troll. That's what they do. Trollers be trolling. And they just anytime that there's going to be an opportunity to go, I told you so, these people are going to be like, I told you so, all the way up until we actually see Toby and Andrew on screen, and then we can look at them and be like, okay, now what? What you gonna say now?
Right. Totally.
Exactly.
Well,
and
I guess we'll have to see, man.
Oh, indeed.
I don't think it matters much at this point, though. We're still waiting for the damn trailer, and I doubt they'll even be in the trailer. So
I'm going to see Black Widow this weekend, man. This is gonna be my first movie back in the theaters. This is my very first one going back. I was saving it for an MCU movie. I'm curious because I want to see if we get that trailer during Black Widow. You know, there were some whispers that it might be during Black Widow.
I think it's too soon still. And I heard people try to retract that. I'm telling you, man, I'm still sticking to we won't get it until after Loki's over. There's too much that Loki sets up in the background.
So you do realize that if we don't get it until Loki's over, then that means, let's see, Loki's got 2 episodes left, right? So that's next week and the following week. That almost cancels it out of being on the NBA Finals, because that would be.
I don't think it'll be on that either.
So then that means we probably wouldn't see a trailer until Monday Night Football, because I don't think they would debut the trailer unless it was at like a big Disney ABC type event, and Monday Night Football would be one of those things. But I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, damn, we got to wait that long. We finna wait.
It makes sense.
Help me out with this. Are we just thirsty because there hasn't been a lot of shit? Or does it seem like they're like these studios are pushing trailers out to like 0 hour almost at this point? Because I feel like movie trailers used to drop and you would see like 3 or 4 different trailers for a movie before it came out. Now it's like you lucky if you get one solid 3-minute trailer or something like that.
Well, at least from these studios that we're looking for them for, you know what I'm saying? Like we ain't got a big WB, nothing, not a big Marvel, nothing. We got Shang-Chi at least. But I just think like there's a starting point or a deadline, however you want to look at it, for these Hollywood shows or Hollywood movies coming out. And it seems like the push, like everybody was pushing their movies, pushing their trailers, pushing all this stuff, and we haven't heard anything being pushed for a while. So I feel like there's probably some kind of a common agreement that's going on out in Hollywood that of course don't involve us, that we don't know about.
Okay.
But if you look at it, like you just said, we're about to get Black Widow dropping. September we got Shang-Chi. Then we got No Way Home. I think we're getting Eternals. Then we get No Way Home. Then we're getting Doctor Strange. Like the ball's just rolling.
Yeah.
So you don't want to drop Spider-Man too soon because you're still trying to get all that September Shang-Chi marketing out there.
You're right.
And you already know once they drop Spider-Man, ain't nobody gonna be talking about Shang-Chi no more. We already talked about Spider-Man, and all we got was a few leaks. We got a toy something now. Like we ain't got nothing for Spider-Man. And each week on multiple channels, not just ours, Spider-Man is a conversation. So you don't want that type of thing to push over when you're trying to push out Loki. You're trying to push out Hawkeye, like all these shows coming out. Ain't nobody gonna be talking about that. We're gonna get like 6 or 8 weeks of Hawkeye. Ain't nobody gonna be talking about it because we're gonna be trying to see if it has any connection to No Way Home. Knowing it don't.
Yeah.
Just because we want Spider-Man. So I just think, I agree. I think it's just we're thirsty for content. We're thirsty for that sauce is what we want. We want the sauce from Marvel.
Well, apparently, that's our loss.
Yes.
We ain't got it.
We
right
ain't got
now.
it, man. They
we
ain't trying to let us know
it.
nothing.
No,
not at all.
And
man.
I saw Adam make the point that Spider-Man's a Sony movie. No way they dropped it on Monday Night Football. Fair enough, but I mean, if it's a regular YouTube drop, then it's like, to me, I feel like Spider-Man is a big deal. Like maybe I'm tripping, but I'm like, Spider-Man's a movie that you would like, especially if it's gonna have the stuff that we talking about. You might want to hype that a little bit more than just doing some random ass YouTube drop. Yeah, I'm just saying.
I think to his point is, well, he says Sony's in charge of it. Maybe that's something Marvel would do, Disney would do, but Sony is notorious for dropping.
Yeah, I forget, like man.
On look, YouTube.
I'm just trying to look, Sony, figure it out. Or can we just give Spider-Man back to Marvel, please? Can we just let them buy it back? Like all of these semantics. It's
or share it. I think this is like the closest thing that we've had to where they're sharing, at least. Like I've not ever seen two big studio companies like this share. And like and you know, this was kind of in speculation. I want to say at least a couple years ago, or maybe during the pandemic or just before the pandemic hit. This was a speculation on a few channels because that's when they started outlining, because Marvel got a lot of their properties back, but they're sitting in Spider-Man, the Hulk, and they had to explain all that types of stuff. And it was kind of in speculation then with the outline of things that Marvel had control over the Spider-Man, the merchandising as far as the toys and stuff go, and they can still, like the cartoons and everything is under actual like Marvel. That's not Sony using the Marvel logo or anything like that. That's actual Marvel. So like they could actually do like TV shows and stuff like that with Spider-Man and kind of share them, but it would have to be animated to that point. But with the Disney Plus shows that they're doing, I mean, there's no saying that we wouldn't get and Sony's already doing their own little thing too. Like I said, they're doing a Silk. I think they're doing a Silk show. I think it's gonna be a show, not a movie. Then they're doing Spider-Woman. They'll probably start talking more about Madam Web here soon. And those are probably all going to be movies, and then Marvel can do something small. And even if they got Andrew Garfield on one of those contracts, they can do a small live action Spider-Man and keep it under an hour, and that totally be Marvel, as long as Sony plays ball and actually shares. So they have that agreement going on for the next 5 years. This is like the opportunity and the best chance that we're going to get a lot of that Norman Osborn stuff and all the, you know, the actual sharing of Spider-Man. So we'll see how that goes. I think in the end it's going to turn out, once again, that Tom Holland is going to go back to Sony. We're going to see Spider-Man over there. And if we do keep any kind of Spider-Man in the MCU, I'm really hoping, if they don't kill him, that we get Toby.
I'm with that. I'm totally with that. I'm totally with that because I need a more mature Peter Parker. Like I need Peter Parker to be more mature in order to fit in a little bit better. Tom is cool, but if you telling me I have the choice between Tom and Toby,
and Tom fits better in the Sonyverse. Like they totally built that. And you know, they say Venom 2, you don't really miss him. And I think that post-credit scene or whatever credit scene that they said that Tom Holland had recorded that they had him take out, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's speculation and rumor that they might actually put that back in Venom 2 now, because of the way the timeline and everything went, and having Spider-Man come out, like now it wouldn't matter. But I'm not entirely sure of that. Don't hold me to that. But still, I just think Tom Holland would actually fit better in the Sonyverse, since they're creating it for him like that. He's got all those villains over there already kind of permeating and waiting for him to show up. And the direction that we're going, we don't need Spider-Man that much right now. You know what I'm saying? Now.
No, you're right about that. You're right. But
you know,
I am a shield for I'm a shield for my Peter Parker, man. Definitely. Especially when you start talking live action Spider-Verse and Madam Web. Like, come on, man, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Like,
I can't wait to see what they do.
Oh man, I can't wait. But I tell you another thing that I cannot wait for, and that is episode 5 of Loki, because 4 was on fire.
Yes, it was.
Now, I want to touch on something before we start breaking that down. First of all, let me make sure I put the spoiler alert up, because we are definitely gonna go there. But I gotta say something real quick. I gotta just ask the question. Cut the music for just a second. IGN.com. Are y'all trolling? Are you trolling? Because I think you trolling. I think you was legit trolling and it worked. Do you know they gave episode 4 of Loki a 5? A 5.
Why? Did they explain themselves?
Apparently, they felt like it was retread, the action was stale, and it was predictable. I don't know if we watched the same episode.
Right.
I would give you the action, but again, what we have seen in these shows is that the action is not going to be on the level of an MCU cinematic piece of content. It's just not going to be there. It has not been. We've gotten some stuff that was maybe close, but they're not. It's not. We just ain't getting that. So I have already made peace with that. But a 5.
Yeah, like
5.
Even at its worst, I'd still say it was a 7, but I rate it higher than that.
Like
10. Is it a 5 out of 5?
No, it was a 5 out of 10. And they may have said 5.5. I'll give them that half a point, but they definitely gave it like a 5 or a 5.5 out of 10.
Wow. I don't know. I guess what was they? Was it like a comparison thing? They try to compare it to a movie or something like that?
I don't know, bruh. I don't. I was thoroughly confused.
Yeah, I was still confused.
I was thoroughly confused.
I don't know what they thinking, man. Because to me, like, there's a couple moments in there where I was like, oh,
I'm trying to tell you, man.
Like, why they do that? Like, no, I thought it was pretty great. Like, and like you said, the action's not going to be on a cinematic level, but at the same point, that's not really the point that we're starting to get when it comes to these streaming shows. Like, especially by now, we're kind of used to the action being a plot point. Now, it's not action to entertain or just to entertain. Now they're doing it just to progress it. Obviously, there's going to be conflict to the point where these superheroes are going to have to throw hands. Like, that's a duh. But it's not the main focal point now to where the fight defines what's going to happen next. It's usually a fight to get away or a fight to preserve something, and then that's done, and then you get back into the dialogue. So I don't know, like, if they're looking at it from an action standpoint, these shows really aren't supposed to be action packed, and I don't really think any of the trailers ever have said that, like, not on any of the streaming shows.
Right.
So,
well, this is the way they summed it up. They basically said it was an episode that jogs in place and indulges Marvel's worst tendencies.
Wow.
Another quote from it says that the show applies smoke and mirrors to its own dramatic presentation and ends up obscuring plot urgency and meaningful character drama. Did we watch the same episode?
I think what they're doing is comparing it to a show like WandaVision. That's what that sounds like to me. Because that's something I could probably say of WandaVision. Especially with the stuff that we heard afterwards and that they took out. That's like a WandaVision take.
Maybe so you think maybe somebody thought they were watching Loki and saw an episode of WandaVision instead?
Well,
because I'm trying to understand the mathematics.
Okay, so I guess what it really comes down to, this is twice now we've seen that Marvel tried to do the whole okie doke on us, and it didn't really hit, is what it sounds like. So it's like, okay, so the TVA was fake. They kind of teased that in the previous episode, so we knew that they would touch base on it more with this episode. So you could say that was a little predictable, but at the same time, it's like the how. So just to skip ahead real fast, we got the spoiler alert up. So at the end, like I said, we figured out that they're fake, cut the head off, blah 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 blah. I guess, like, even Loki's reaction was a hold up, like, don't touch it, like it was gonna be something like a big deal or whatever the case, like that just really didn't kind of hit, but it still sold for the characters to show that they didn't expect it to go that way. But for us, the viewer, I mean, I guess, yeah, to a certain point, we kind of saw that the TVA was going to be a bit of a fake thing. But that kind of opens up more questions on who the actual villain is, what's the reason, blah, 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 blah. So I guess if you want to try to compare that to the whole Agatha thing, like, we knew for sure it was Agatha, but I think we were really trying to find something more complex, forgetting how simple Marvel keeps things.
Right.
And this is just another example of that. Like, maybe they were expecting something a little more complex with the TVA, and the fact that it was like, okay, they're robots.
Chuck E. Cheese robots at that.
Yeah, at that. Like, they're the old animatronic ones that you see pop up in the old cartoons.
I'm telling you, man, look, I saw them cats and I was like, first of all, look, if you ain't know the TVA was gonna be fake, what show have you been watching? Like, everybody and their mama knew that the TVA was gonna be smoke and mirrors. Like that. Here's it, and look, I get your point about the WandaVision comparison, but here's the difference in my opinion. WandaVision spent, let's say, 6-7 episodes building up something that and trying to misdirect you away from the obvious. Like, WandaVision gave you legitimate cause to pause even though you were like, well, it seems like it would be Agatha, but all of this other stuff that they done thrown in here makes you feel like it would be something different. There was no point in the first 3 episodes of Loki that I was like, well, maybe the TVA really does exist. No, we knew it. You knew that they were going to, you knew that when at whatever point that he came face to face with the TVA, they were going to, it wasn't going to be, it wasn't going to work out the way you thought it was. You knew that.
Right.
Now, the one thing I will say is I did think that they kind of played it up a little bit too much when the animatronic head fell and Loki kind of had that don't touch it and the shock, like, but after watching it because I've seen the episode like 3 times already. After watching it a couple more times, I don't think that look was because he was shocked that they were robotic. I think he was more shocked at the realization that he was right and that they still weren't nowhere near getting an answer yet. Like they were like back to square one kind of situation. But I want to back up a little bit because I want to really get into this episode.
Yeah. Totally.
So
I can go all the way to the beginning for you.
Yeah, let's go all the way back to the beginning and how we show up in Asgard. And Sylvie's playing, doing a little thing, man. I thought that was dope with her, playing and imagining the Valkyrie or whatnot. They always do a really good job with references especially with this show. Like the subtlety of how they reference things that have already been made canon in the MCU, I think is dope. But I like that whole setup, like that's what MCU origins need to be like, in the sense that now we don't need that whole drawn out, well, it all started way back. Just give me a quick opening. This is where this like, especially, and again, we're 4 episodes in. This is what, the 2nd episode or 3rd episode with Sylvie. She showed up at the end of episode 2. So, and then when she got a full episode before in 3, and then this is her 3rd one. So you kind of get to know this character before we start talking origin, or we even see that. They did the same thing with Monica Rambeau in WandaVision. That's where I think the MCU is hidden in terms of origin stuff. Is like, that's the way you can bring in these new characters and really give the context of where they come from. It doesn't have to be, that A, B, C straight line. You can go actually drop these characters in, and then we can go back and visit their origin or touch on that at some other point later on down the line. Another thing that I'm starting to notice, and this is more in general, is I know that we've all, everybody knows that the MCU is loosely based around what is the Ultimates universe, I think, in the comics. It's crazy how much this writing style and the way that they're telling stories kind of mirrors Jonathan Hickman and the way that he writes some of the big arcs that from the comics for Marvel, because it's like there's things where there's payoffs, like it not as long. Like I think in his run, like in the Secret Wars run, there were things that he like little nuggets that would get dropped off in like Avengers and New Avengers that then pays off once you get to time runs out and all that stuff. So it's like he sets up these little nuggets that you feel like don't really matter, but then you kind of loop back and then all of a sudden it all comes full circle and it makes sense. And I feel like they're doing that same thing with a lot of this MCU content, which really makes me wonder and starts to really make me scratch my head about where and how this is going to end up at Secret Wars, because I think we're starting to really see a little bit of where that's going and what the purpose of Secret Wars is going to be within this realm. Like, it had its purpose in the comics, just like the Infinity Saga did. But then once you got to the MCU, the Infinity Saga had kind of a practical, more driven in realism type approach. And I think that's what we're getting with these timelines and the multiverse stuff, is this idea of the universe and like wanting to break free, like basically not wanting things to be, this idea of determinism versus, just doing whatever you feel is cool for you. And it's just
right.
But it was really interesting because, like I said, you get the whole thing with Sylvie. You see her going through the same stuff that Loki kind of went through when he checked in, and it was just like it was a real dope way, I just thought, of introducing or reintroducing us to her as a character and really giving us the background of where she came from. I also thought it was dope that like she basically got out the same way that Loki got out, in terms of when he had his interview, when he was being interrogated by Mobius, got the little machine and jumped out. Like it was almost the same type situation. So it's like really cool how they mirror that stuff. And it's the little things. My point is that it's the little shit like that makes this show. It's like, yeah, the big reveals and the ooh, ah, but it's the real intricate stuff that makes this show as good as it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely. And I feel you on that. Like, it kind of makes you wonder, like, seeing her escape almost the same way and in the same kind of way that Loki did is like, is this something that every Loki has done?
Right.
You would have to assume that time still, even though it's different there, it still kind of repeats itself if you're going after the same kind of person, even though they're a variant. They just look different or whatever the case. They have the small quirks, but they all kind of have the same wiring, so they're going to try to do the same different things. But it kind of confirms some suspicions. Like I think last week we were talking about the best thing that would make sense for her would be that she escaped at some point. Like how else would she know some of the things that she knew about the TVA, about them all being variants and stuff like that, besides being able to enchant them and see their previous memories? Just the fact that she was there. Excuse me. Also, when they bring her in, the dude that's like getting his arm twisted, like comes in and she's like, help him or whatever. Yeah. That's actually the same guy who's sitting at the monitor when she sets off the bomb. He's got that like short hair and a curly mustache. It's the same guy.
Same guy.
So like, again, what you're saying with the little subtle hints that they put in, like if you look at that, you got to go, when you go back and watch it again, you're like, that's the same dude. So that kind of proves that, you know, they were variants. You can also say the dude that was sitting at the beginning with all the Infinity Stones. Yeah, you don't see him when they flash back and they put her through the same process. It's a completely different dude. Right. So it just begs the question of if they're all variants, and they feel as if they were created, how were they created? Like obviously they weren't just poofed out of thin air. They were seemingly stolen from different timelines. And they're saying that they're variants, but are they actually variants, or were they just people plucked out and then called a variant? Right. Because they never really explain, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but they never even really touch on what Sylvie did to become a variant. You know what I'm saying? Especially the way they pulled her up. She was just sitting there chilling, playing with the toys, and they just come in and accuse her of being a variant. And you don't really get to see her ask many questions either. You know, they just yoke her up and pull her through, and you know she doesn't really get to ask the questions. He goes through all the same process that the other Loki did, down to the aura, getting the aura taken, and getting put in front of the judge. And of course, that's where it ended, though. So you got to think, though, also that they've probably been chasing her for upwards of like the way Asgardians age, you would probably place her at the same age as the Loki is, which is around 1,000 years. Yeah. So like she's been running for a good grip, dude. Like that's 900 of them. You know what I'm saying? Because I would say, even for them being children, I doubt their first single digit years. Like who knows how long they're actually children for? You know what I'm saying? If they live that long, there's no way to me that they go under the same kind of guidelines like us humans. No,
they like them. They on that Grogu stuff,
right? You know what I'm saying? So
what, 50 years old in the Mandalorian, like they on that type deal. So
so who knows how old she was? But again, it's been so long for her. It's like you know, she says it's like a blip. She don't remember her parents or any of that types of stuff. So like, I'm excited to kind of see what they do with Renslayer and her background, because you're going to get into that next week, because she's going to explain everything. But like it was kind of cool how they brought her in, explained that. We kind of figured that would be coming, and then you know, they get saved from the TVA, from them looking at another type of branch.
Let's back up let's back up just slightly, though, because that part, to me, is the heart of what I think the multiverse and what's going on. I think that's where, like, that's what it really boils down to, is that there is somebody, at least from the TVA perspective, that is trying to have the timeline remain in a certain way, like in terms of they want the timeline to go a certain direction, to achieve, whether it's to achieve a certain outcome or to make sure that a certain status quo remains what it is, whatever the case may be. And I think what that scene showed was that it's not so much about, like they were saying, purpose, and it's more so about your purpose as a person in the multiverse feeding into the larger purpose of whoever this person is that is controlling it at this point.
Right.
And you see the relationship starting to develop there, and that because that is so off the beat. Because the thing I thought about was this, right? They're basically facing impending doom, like they about to die. Mm-hmm. So what exactly with that timeline that they were trying to create, or that was being created, that was basically about to hit the point of no return just before the TVA showed up. But to me, it's like, okay, well, what exactly could have happened if that timeline had kept going and broke the threshold? Right. Because essentially that universe or that planet was about to be destroyed. So then it makes me wonder, it's like, so wait a minute then. Like, is there something to this thing with Loki's that you got to try to keep them either under control or at least off the board or something like that? Because it's like, why would you want why would it be so detrimental for them to fall for each other during an apocalypse? I can see if you were talking about during a timeline where maybe that there was still a possibility for a future, but from what we were being told, it's like, no, they were there because it was over. Like nothing that would have happened would have affected the timeline in a major way. But you see that spiking the way that it did, and it's like, wait a minute. So this is I think this is more so about someone trying to influence time from a certain direction or perspective, as more than it is trying to protect a certain thing. Right. It's like they're trying to, I think it's more of an influence kind of thing. And that's where we're, when you start talking about the multiverse destabilizing and whatnot, it's going to be that this show, I think, is opening the door for the timeline to be able to go in all of these different directions and whatnot. And I think there's still more to the story that we don't know, obviously, but for me, that just really stuck out. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, like you said, they came and got rescued right in that moment, which again, I'm wondering, when you looking back at this again, having watched it a few times, and we're going to definitely get to the end, but when you take that post-credit scene into consideration, It's like, well, wait a minute. We kind of understand, or I can understand the concept of what's going on there, but what is the end game with that? And where are they that they're not on the radar of the TVA? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, the impression that I got, again, I don't want to skip too far ahead, but that was that, what we saw in the post-credit scene, that they've been there for a minute. And that they know what's up. So my thing is, okay, well then how is that going? How does that work exactly? And where is that going to go? Because that means that they've been chilling wherever they've been chilling for a good minute. So what is the importance or the significance of Loki to the multiverse? That's what it boils down to for me, because it's not that obviously tells me they haven't just been pruning they're looking for specific variants, i.e. Loki's, for a reason. And maybe it's not just Loki's that they're after, maybe, but could it be that they're after Nexus beings? Could that have something to do with it? You know what I'm saying?
It's a possibility, because something that did cross my mind too is seeing all those Lokis in one spot, and that will probably play off the President Loki one, because we haven't seen that yet. I feel, maybe that they are pruning or trying to find whichever Nexus Loki for whatever reason, and they don't like pruning. obviously for what we thought meant that they were vaporized, wiped. Like they didn't get the chance to do anything. And maybe that is something that is true of everyone who's not a Loki. That could possibly be true.
Yeah.
So like when they were going to prune them in front of the TVA, they probably, like the TVA or them, they knew that they weren't going to kill them. They were just going to send them over to where that whatever that reality is that he got sent to. But it does kind of beg the question that for that timeline branch that you're talking about, is that something about the two of them that was essentially doing it, or was it something about the two of them being together changing something for the one of them that if they had died on that planet would have changed things for the you know what I'm saying? That would have definitely created a Nexus event if you kill off a Nexus being in that kind of a timeline. You know what I'm saying? But that just begs the question of, if that is the case, is it our main story, Loki?
Right.
Or is it the Sylvie character? Right. And like, was that like a realization, like them, like you saying, him falling for Sylvie, which I still think is, I don't know how to even look or take that, to be completely honest. But
so let's get into it then. Like what how did you feel about that? Like, did it weird you out? Did you think it was kind of like a like just an odd situation? Because I'm curious. I want to know how you felt before I tell you how I felt about it.
Well, knowing the character Loki, like himself, themself, like it's one of those characters that has actually been fluid, period. Like there's been times where, and even in like old Norse mythology, like when he goes to Midgard or whatever, he's an old woman. So like that character is really fluid in all aspects. And like honestly, there's some things that they've had him do even in the comics that are even outside of the realm of a gender, that Loki is just one of those out there characters, to be completely honest. So it didn't really weird me out, but at the same time, it is still kind of weird, because if you think about the dynamic of it all, it's like this is the ultimate level of falling for yourself.
Oh yeah.
Like if it could be any more perfect, it really couldn't be. Like, or it could be like, I don't know, maybe obviously for American standards or for certain standards that we have here in social in society, it's like I mean, I don't know, I can't even say it the way I'm about to say it, because that doesn't even really apply anymore in today's world, to be completely honest. So I don't know. I mean, maybe for this version of Loki, I would say if it could be any more perfect, it would either be like completely himself, but to simplify it and turn it around and make it something that I guess people could work with, it would be a female version of him. Of course, he would fall ultimately for a female version of him, with how they kind of try to do his canon. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he goes in any direction, but at the same time, mostly in these shows, they're going to try to make it, especially for kid shows, it's more canon and common to see male-female relationships. So for the normies, down to the normie level, like this couldn't get any more perfect. So to me, yeah, it was a little weird, but did it weird me out? No, because multiversal implications.
Yeah, no doubt.
How did it make you feel though?
I was, number one, and this is the honest truth, I saw this coming a mile away. So it was, it was like I saw it coming a mile away, and the way that it doesn't make it doesn't make any, it couldn't make any more sense than it does. And Mobius put it the best way possible. He's the ultimate narcissist. Like, obviously somebody like Loki is never going to find love, because in Loki's mind, he's never going to find somebody that is on his level. He's always going to feel superior. And love is a thing where you kind of have to you submit yourself. Like you compromise, you submit yourself. Like you enter into a relationship with somebody, there's some give and take. So you got to be willing to give. Loki's not, like, by nature is all about Loki. So it's like, if Loki was ever to fall in love, who else would Loki fall in love with but another Loki? Like that, the only thing that would have made it any more weird or any weirder at all would have been if it was Loki the alligator. You know what I'm saying? Right. Then it's like, okay, hold on. But like what we doing? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, no, to me, when they introduced the Loki variant as Sylvie, when I saw, from that point, I'm not even talking about like the interaction, because I think we all kind of saw it when they were doing the whole thing with the train and they were on Lamentus in episode 3. You kind of knew it was going there at that point. But it was like, even when they introduced her and he went in behind her at the end of episode 2, I was like, oh yeah, they finna end up together. This is about to turn into a love story.
They're gonna try it.
Yeah, this is gonna turn into a what you call it? It's just like, that's what's up. And I know this is this is a good one. So you know what? We're gonna save that for conversation and libation, because I was about to get into that one right now. I was ready to get into that right now, because I can give you the answer to that without even having to think about it.
Right.
But it was just it made so much sense, and I thought the way that it was done was perfect. All the way up to the point where my man was about ready to confess, like that. Oh, bruh. Like I don't want to skip ahead too much, but that was because my favorite part of this episode, and my favorite thing, it has become my favorite thing about the Loki show, is Loki and Mobius's conversations.
Yeah.
Like, anytime you have those two cats on the screen, I am glued, because it's just it seems so organic. Like, those are two dudes, and you know, not tooting our own horn, but we kind of know something about this. It almost seems like they just show up and the chemistry is there. Like, you just know those cats. And it's like, that's something you can't duplicate. Like, you can't force that. There's no way you can get two people in a room. Like, you can make people, you can put people in and you can show them how to kind of play off of each other and whatnot. But when you have two people that have that chemistry like that, it just shows. Like, it's kind of like the whole, like, I liken it to like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys, or Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy in the Life movie. Like, there's certain people, you put them together and it's just like, damn, son, like, that's gold right off the bat. And that's what you get with those two. Like, you know, you had a little bit, and that was kind of one of the knocks with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, was I felt like you had that with Sam and Bucky. You just didn't get enough of it. Like, they didn't give you enough of that for you to really have an appreciation for it the way that you do with this show. But it was so good, man. And it's like, he's Loki, the way that, like, he's working, dude. Like, even when he realizes, like, my dude sends him into the time loop, which I thought was hilarious. That whole joint with him and Lady Civ, and like him going through that same moment over and over again. Like, bruh, did you feel that the way I felt that? Like, in terms of actually trying to put yourself in that scenario and imagining living like one of your worst memories, like, over and over again.
Right. Well, okay. So in that point, I don't know if that was set up to be one of his worst memories, because obviously, like, you see how he reacted to it when they first put him in there, and it was cool to see Sif come back again, by the way.
Yes, it was super dope.
How they did that, though, it was like, okay, he was like, all right, I know what I did here, and all the thing I did was take a bath and sip on some purple drink, and I was straight. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really think about that, but it was kind of like the message that
it was a psychological thing. Yes.
Yeah, it was like she was forever telling him that you're gonna be alone. You know, there's not gonna be anybody else. And just before he throws him in there, well, no, because he put him in there first before they did the whole little interrogation thing. But you know, that really did soften him up, as he said. You know,
of course.
Like, being told that you're constantly gonna be alone for something that you did, and no matter how he tried, even though he came to the realization of why he does the way he does things, or why he things he does, there's nothing that he could do to change it. And that has like another realization in itself,
right?
When you do certain things, and then having to, like, being able to be put back in a situation where you have to relive what the result was, the consequence of what you did over and over and over and over. It kind of does drive that point, like, man, like, and you're going to try to do different things each time, even though you're in a time loop. And it seemed like it was a realistic enough time loop to where, like, even when he was like, this is why I do this, like, you beat me up, I'm done. And it seemed like she was listening.
Yes.
She still was like, it don't matter.
It don't matter.
You always go be by yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're pathetic. And she still punched my man and everything. So it was like, yeah, I felt that, because it was like, if I was in that situation, from me being a person like Loki, to have to see what the consequences were, and there was no bereavement for it. There was no time away. I had to keep facing that. There's no bath and purple drink at the end of that. Yeah, like I didn't, and it kind of surprised me a little bit. This whole series with Loki surprises me, and I think it's more because we're used to seeing the MCU Loki that we've seen for the past 4 phases.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And now we're getting the Loki that not only did in the first couple episodes did they catch him up to being the MCU Loki, they caught him up and then they broke him back down, and now they're like rebuilding him into this new version of Loki to where it is extremely possible, like because another one, and it might be just reference, could just be reference, but there's another little small rumor that he's supposed to be in Love and Thunder. Small rumors, not too confirmed, but they were saying that if he was in there, that he might have been the one to either bring back Mjolnir or I don't think he brings back Mjolnir, but I think he has like a version of it. And then we see again, jumping to that post-credit scene, that there's a version of Loki that has holding a different version of Mjolnir. So there's not to say that at the end of this, which is why I think there's like a reason why they're not releasing No Way Home, because there's no reason or rhyme or reason to say that at the end of all this, knowing the TVA is fake, blah 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 blah, that he could come out of the TVA, or out of that timeline, into wherever. So there's no saying that he can't be in Love and Thunder unless that's something that we can confirm for sure, which is not either or. It's not confirmed. That he would be wielding a version of Mjolnir, which would also play into the fact of why the Nexus event was starting to happen, especially if he was going to die, because he could possibly be being trimmed or pruned or groomed into being a Nexus being in whatever timeline he winds up popping in. So it's up in the air. It's kind of teeter-totter. It's kind of cool seeing what they're doing with this Loki character. And like I said, I was surprised to see that he even came out and was like, I do this because I'm a narcissist and I'm afraid of being alone. And that happens to be the loop that's chosen. I don't know if like Mobius is just that guy to know and peg Loki so well, because they even had that back and forth together. I think when he's interrogating him, he pulled his card again, and when he tricked him about Sylvie. Like,
well, see that
Mobius must be that dude,
and that's what makes it so dope. Is it's like, I think that because Mobius has been doing this over and over, like he's been catching Lokis over and over again, he probably knows Loki better than anybody. And so he knows what buttons to push to break Loki down. And that's what and to your point, that's what that whole loop was. It wasn't, and maybe saying, worst memory was the wrong way to put it, but that's like, it's like you put him in a situation where it probably was the only memory that you could put him through that would get that message across to where you could break him down on that level. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, for me, what I thought was what I think is so amazing about what they're doing with Loki in the show is it's like what you said. It's like they the Loki we know was killed off in Endgame, or in Infinity War. He was killed off. So then we see this Loki now, kind of the birth of that Loki being, with the whole time travel situation. And now we're seeing him go through this whole situation with the TVA, but he's basically in an arc where he's being given now the possibility to kind of break his mold and become something now that is beyond anything that we've known him to be. And that's the thing to me that's so dope, is like, now you've created a situation, not just to where it was cool at first for Loki fans that were like, oh yeah, they found a way to bring Loki back. Yay. But you've brought Loki back in a way that now Loki makes an impact. And he's now going to be at least from my perspective, I feel like Loki on some level is going to be an integral part of what happens going forward in the MCU. Now it's not going to center around him, but what we're getting in this show, make no mistake, I feel like what we're getting in this show is, number one, definitely going to lead into a season 2 of this show. Like, there's going to have to be a season 2 of this, I think.
They told you, man. It's confirmed.
Man. Oh yeah,
they're doing that.
And I think what it does is Loki is kind of going to be that through line that all the way to Secret Wars, because this is where it's starting. Like, we thought it was going to be WandaVision, and yes, there's going to be some elements now in WandaVision, it seems like, that are going to tie in really well and kind of put WandaVision in a new light. But like Loki is going to be the show that like you're going to follow that trail all the way to Secret Wars. And Loki is going to be, I think, a whole different character. By the time this is all said and done, Loki's going to be a completely different character than what we've seen. And he's going to be at a level of, I don't want to say authority, but he's going to be more significant now than he ever was in the Infinity Saga. Like it's going to, and just by nature of what they're doing with his character arc. And I think it was, what was so crazy about him being broken down in that way is that you have him get broken down in that way to where he's basically at the point where he feels like it's over and done with. And then, Mobius comes in, they have their conversation, and he basically tries to let Mobius know, it's almost like the Matrix, like it ain't real, man. Like they gamed you. And it's just like the back and forth between those dudes when they like the intellectual sparring that's going on in that scene. And then him playing the joke on him, or not the joke, but him lying to him about Sylvie. And you see like Tom Hiddleston literally fighting back, like holding back tears because he's trying to put on the front that like he ain't phased. And you see like just the genuine, like it almost feels like in that moment like that. It's just some dope acting going on between those two, man. And it's like, even in that, Mobius is basically trying to get to a point, but you can see that he even has on some level, like beneath the surface, this like not pity, but this level of almost like understanding of Loki, in the sense like he like this apathy, almost like not apathy, but like this empathy. There you go. Like he feels where dude, like he's like, you know what, man, like you really, and it really comes, I think where that really comes back is once he decides, or once Mobius realizes that it's all a sham, right? Because he goes, because we get the scene where the guard goes, Sylvie and the guard, was it B15, and they go over to the rock in front of the Rockstar store, and she shows her, opens up her mind, shows her memories from her actual life. And Adam, shut up. We've already talked about that, Adam. you hush your mouth. They found a way to convert me, so you can just hearse with your CGI water. Just hearse.
That's funny. That's funny.
I saw. He thought he was gonna sneak that in, like I wasn't gonna see that comment.
I noticed that. I'm hardly even watching it too, and that's funny. It's the first thing that caught my eye.
Like, hey, Adam, you. How about that? How about that? But no, it's dope, man, because you see that, and you see, she's opened up. She basically lets her know, which I thought was interesting because, and I also thought I saw that coming because it's always the one person that is going the hardest. That's like, you're nothing, you're variance, you're a cosmic mistake. You like, she finna, like they about to f her world up.
Right.
Like,
all the way.
They did, like she got woke all the way up. So then it's like, they're like, okay, well, what now? And then my man Mobius, by this point, he's already got the temp pad or whatever. And he goes and he looks and he sees the video with old girl saying like, you know what? I know it's fake. We are all variants. And then we see Ravonna like, nah, cut that, son. We finna deal with that. Like,
wrap it up, B.
Wrap that up, B. I did find it to be a little too convenient that she like turned and looked dead ass at the camera when she like I want y'all to know it was me.
Her face.
Like, yes.
Like, why are you looking shook?
Right.
Like, I mean, even the information
you had to know.
Variants, like, you wouldn't have that
come
face.
on, no.
Like, I'm ending like this, like, damn.
You'd have been like, you'd have had that face like this.
Right.
Like, she had a face like, oh, she got us.
Right.
I'm like, come on, man. Like, y'all in here having this whole damn meeting because she about to snitch. Come on, man.
That whole Dave Chappelle face.
Gotcha. Right. Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
serious, bro.
I didn't get that.
I
didn't get the whole face.
But yeah,
I mean, like, she was trying to play she was gaming my man all the way back in the office, but she wouldn't even explain why she wouldn't let him interrogate Sylvie. She was playing all them cylinders on my man.
Now, this is the one thing that I'll say about the show. The one knock that I have is, can we please, MCU, get away from this point where the villains are so damn predictable? Like, you see it, like, she wasn't making no, like, attempts to try to, like, in any episode has she tried to conceal, like, Stevie Wonder could see that this chick was crooked, man. Like, everybody sees that. Like, at least give me some kind of surprise, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. It just gets a little too predictable sometimes from that standpoint. But I still feel like when you, like, looking at how they laid this whole show out, it was just crazy, man. Because then B-15 comes back. You know, they go to the timekeepers, number one. Oh, bro, like, for real, right? Charged up. And I'm saying, so they go to the timekeepers, man. And the minute I saw these Chuck E. Cheese puppets on the wall, I was like, bro, they like, no, bro. Like, come on, man. Like,
oh goodness,
I'm telling you, bro. As I saw them Chuck E. Cheese puppets on the wall and was like, if this ain't some Wizard of Oz, I don't know what is, man. Like,
right?
Oh, bro, I was like, oh yeah, this is fake as all hell. And even when they started talking, man, and like I'm looking at them like, bro, these look like some Sesame Street meat Chuck E. Cheese. Like, this dude mustache is ridiculous. Bro, come on, man. Look at this. Who gonna walk in here and think this is real, bro? Like, this look like a bad Jackson's video from the 80s. Like, I'm like, is this Loki or the torture video, bro? Like, let's be real. But even then, like, in that scene, which once the fighting started, I got some strong Last Jedi vibes. I felt like I was watching Ben and Rey in Snoke's throne room all over again. I'm like,
yeah, man.
You see, they stay. The mouse stay trolling. He stayed trolling. He knew what he was doing. He was like, we got something for these Star Wars fans. Like, man, come on, bro. Y'all just ain't gonna let me forget. Y'all just will not let me forget. But
I mean, like, even with them sitting on Lamentus waiting for the apocalypse was kind of like the Rogue One.
Yes,
at the end
that part. Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it absolutely was.
Like, but they didn't accomplish shit though.
No, not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. And then we got to back up because we talked about, you know, Mobius and Loki, but then the old moment of the episode, they proved my man, like, straight up, like, Mobius is gone.
Mobius. Yeah. Like, I ain't even gonna front. That kind of, like, the far left heartstring on the upper right part of it. It got a tinge of a tug. I was like, what'd you do?
Let me tell you,
like,
I'm watching that. Look, and I'm gonna let the family behind the scenes and let them know what happened. So I knew I had to get up, you know, because as Felicity always say, grown folks got jobs. So I was checking for Loki the minute it dropped. So I started watching it, and then, you know, the Josh stream comes up. So I'm probably about 5-6 minutes ahead of the stream watching it. I see that scene. I pause and go straight back to the live stream because I'm like, oh, I gotta see what people say when they see this right here. Like, I go in the chat and I'm like, it's about to go down. And Josh is reading it. And I'm like, nah, bro, I don't think you understand me right now. You don't know what's about to happen. And it was just like gone and people lost it. And I'm like, man, like, that was ballsy to prove Mobius in the episode. Like, I was sick because, again, like I said, that's been the highlight of the show for me, is watching him and Hiddleston, watching Mobius and Loki, or Wilson and Hiddleston on the screen, man. Like, that's some magic to me. And it was like, dude, what are you doing? And I didn't even think about the idea of, you know, maybe he ain't gone or whatever the case may be or whatever. But
toward the end, like, when I saw the post credit, I was like, okay.
Yeah, like, exactly. You felt a little bit better. But he went out like a G, though, because he was like, you know where I'd go? I'd go to get on a jet ski. Like,
right. You lying.
You lying. Sorry. Like, man.
You deprived me of
just Only
Like,
thing was
yeah.
missing was for my man to crack open a can of Joss to take a sip and then throw the can out before they prune it.
That sounds like something you see in Boondocks,
Like,
though. Not something you see.
I don't care. I would have just pull it out of nowhere, just crack the can open, swing it, and throw it at her. Like,
Right.
take that. Pruning.
Right.
like, yeah.
Right. Then she have a real reason. Then that
Right,
makes sense.
right, exactly.
She was just heartless. Like, she didn't care at all.
No.
It's like, oh, you compromised. Like, she had to play the role all the way up just because she was in front of them guards, but she knew what it was.
Yo,
That's why she was there in the first place.
Exactly, man. So that was shock number one, right? So then,
Right.
fast forward, like we said, we get to the fight scene, and I saw some people in the chat. Look, that fight scene was lame, but every fight scene in all of these MCU shows have not been up to par. I think maybe that first one we got in Falcon and the Winter Soldier was dope, where he was flying through when he was fighting Batroc the first time.
Yeah, the first
that was pretty dope. But the
Yeah.
rest of it has just been
That's about it.
yeah. So it's like I'm not expecting a lot from these shows action wise. You know what I mean? And to Adam's point, I would give Adam this because I was the dude that was screaming, I don't watch my comic book movies for character development. I still don't watch my comic book movies for character development. But if you want to give me a 6-episode series, I'm here for it. How about that, Adam? I'm still right. Damn it.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of who you sounded like just now. This is an old TV show.
Oh, snap.
I know it got Seth Green in it, and it's about this middle-aged dude just got divorced. I felt like it was a sequel to Married with Children. I'll have to when we get to conversation libation.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you sounded like the little puppet that was sitting on the couch. I don't watch this for my character development. Yeah. I'm gonna have
Shut
to
up,
find that.
man.
I'm so have to find that now.
Man. But yeah, we get to
goodness.
so they getting they fight on, man, or something like that. Something
Loki
close
getting
to it.
tore up like always.
Yes. Can Loki get a couple of wins? Can my man get one dub? Like they just got low.
Pick new weapons. Every time he's get a knife or something like that, he's just getting tossed around. Like they're parrying him left and right. Like get a gun or something. Use your
Do
powers.
something,
He
man.
don't ever use his powers either.
No.
Like he could have easily just thrown it. Like if my man could put a building back like it wasn't nothing.
Exactly.
Use your projection, man, and
Do something.
blast them away. Do something, man. Could try to just fight. That's how you know they didn't really put nothing into these fight scenes, dude. Because like, of course that takes graphics, and I guess they was like, look, this background looks dope. What we did with the TVA,
But did it though? Like, can we just talk about the
show?
Okay, the visuals on this show are amazing, but the TVA, when they got to the timekeepers, I promise you, look, I'm gonna tell you, look, Nerd Venture main gang people. We did this with Care Bears 84. I'm finna break y'all off another one. When you're done, don't do it while we on stream. But when the stream is over, please go Google the Jacksons torture. And at some point in this video, you're gonna see this little temple looking joint and be like, that's where the timekeepers were. I'm just saying, the first time I saw that, bro, I was like, why does this look like an MJ video? Like, hold on with these animatronics though. Like who's believing this when they walk in here?
Right. I'm just saying for the graphics though, like
no,
what they probably actually took for even that was they put money in all of that. That's why Loki and Sylvie weren't using no powers. They were trying to put no little green nothing. No
that's
reverse,
where you
nothing.
see the budget like restraints.
Right,
the
exactly. Like they didn't even really want to constrain Sylvie. It was like, look, we just gonna have B-15 come out the elevator.
Right.
This way we ain't gotta spend the money too much. Make her glitch twice. How much that cost? Like $100? All right. Like $100 worth of glitches, and then we just gonna set them free. Cause at this point in the show, we can't make the rest of these scenes look dope if we put too much right here. So
and can we
my man too? Man, that's $500 right there.
Exactly.
Do that.
And my last gripe: can we please stop having these situations where the villain get knocked out and is laying there unconscious for like 5 whole minutes and then just come up out of nowhere? Like, you trying to tell me that she laid there the whole time and let like Loki barely get the courage up to say how he felt? then she gonna prove. No, come on, man. Come on, like she like for real. Like play dead never works. Okay, like stop lying to people. Playing dead don't ever work. Playing dead is the fastest way for you to get dead. If it's really going down like that, you not trying to lay on the ground and be like, they ain't gonna see me if I just lay here like I'm dead. Like, come on, man. Like, stop that ish, please. But yeah, man, it was like, and I didn't call that. I did, but it was like I saw that and I'm like, something happened. And when she pruned the homie, I'm like, they went there. Yeah, but I was just like, they went. I thought for sure. I should have known better. But I thought for sure that was the way that they was gonna take Loki out, and that this was gonna be a wrap. I didn't even think about I was so convinced that I was thinking to myself, so they put fake scenes in the trailers just to make people think we was gonna get stuff that we ain't even see. I was like, boy, they dirty. I was like, they kept this one a big secret. But man, it was like, Loki gone. What am I gonna do now, huh? What am I gonna do now?
Right. It's the Sylvie show now.
Exactly. And then she tell Ravonna, you gonna tell me everything.
Right.
And I'm like, let's go. All right. Perfect way to end the episode. I would have been completely satisfied had we not even gotten the post-credit scene. Like, I would have been totally cool with that, because that would have taken everything off the table at that point. Like, we would have, but it also would have set the internet on fire. People would have rioted if you did not give them some kind of hope that Loki was still around. And that's what I was waiting for. That's what I was waiting. I was waiting, like, up until we saw that post-credit scene. I was like, ooh, I can't wait for this backlash, because this is gonna be juicy.
I ain't even gonna front, I ain't even gonna lie. The moment that she pruned my man and it ended the way it did, I'd skip just to look and see if there was a post credit.
It's like, nah, I gotta validate this.
Right, because if you thought you came out of hiding on Twitter, I'd have came out immediately. Immediately.
Bruh, I was like, oh no, they going somewhere. And that's why I'm saying, man, like, but IGN gives it a 5.
A 5.
A 5. That's why. That's trolling. That's trolling, bro. Like, I think Adam said it, man. IGN was dope back in the 90s. You gave Fast and Furious like a 7.
Games. What they even doing talking about?
That's what I'm saying, man. Stick to what you good at, man. You ain't even good at reviewing games. Because Ghost should have been Game of the Year. Don't even get me started on that. Ghost of Tsushima should have been Game of the Year, hands down. Y'all tripping. But
about to pull that card, man.
I'm telling you, I don't even think they got it no more. I don't think they got it. Yeah, there you go. Woosah. Sun's getting low. Man. Speaking of the sun getting low, let's go on and get into this conversation of libation, though, because, yeah, man, like that was so let me ask you this as we do that. What did you think, or what would you give it from a score standpoint?
From a score standpoint, it's up there for me, man. I'll give it a 9. Like, that's the first number that come to mind, period. Like, they got me with the Mobius. I like the explainer with Sylvie. That was good. Oh, girl, was it Ravon, whatever her name is? I'm coming in and out of that because I don't know. I don't feel like she's supposed to be an important character, but I don't feel like they're doing her any kind of real justice because of the simplicity of what they're doing.
Yeah, I got you.
The only thing that would probably come out of that for me is if in this next explainer there's Kang references. That'd be the only thing that would be left for me that would probably make her a little bit more of a driving force behind the scenes for me, because it seems like she does know some other stuff. But you know what they did with her trying to deceive and stuff like that was pretty cool. The end credit scene, everything with Loki was on point. I ain't really have too much of a complaint with this episode. Like, if anything, it's just, again, making me more hyped to see what the hell's going to go on in the next episode. So I have to settle on a 9.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna go 9.5 because for me, that I didn't see the Mobius thing coming. They really caught me with the Mobius thing. I thought that, again, they've done with this episode a really good job of, again, even though there was, elements in this episode that you saw coming, the ending you still didn't see. I still didn't see that. And that, you know, that's why I'm like, anybody, I can see if, you know, you say from an acting standpoint, from an action standpoint or whatever, it's not for you. But the storytelling in this series has been spot on. And so for me, like, for them to put it into this, or to put us into this area now where we've got, you know, 2 episodes to go, and you know that like the second to last episode is gonna really flesh out a lot. Like I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. So I'm gonna say 9.5. I'm gonna say 9.5. Looks like most people in the two-way agree. I see a bunch of 9s, some 8s, 8.5s, which is definitely, you know, the way that I feel about it. Seems like it's the way you feel about it. Also, again, we just gonna let IGN sit in the corner somewhere because I don't know what that was all about, man. But let's, you know,
shoot.
Matter of fact, they ain't even IGN. I'm gonna just call them Iggin.
Right, because that's what they doing to me right now. They
out of me. Yes, that's
this is
it.
exactly what they doing. They
Straight
me
up,
right now. Like,
man,
y'all need to stop with that right there. Man.
Seriously.
Like, what y'all?
You know
thinking?
the problem is. You know what the problem is? IGN ain't got no sauce.
I was about to say they ain't got the sauce.
They ain't got the sauce, and since IGN ain't got the sauce, then that's your loss, son.
Shoot.
Oh man.
But for me, I believe the top billing that I got was Tommy Banana.
Oh, Jill.
$5 holla. And he
Appreciate
said that new Loki though. That new Loki was A1. Hey. Yes, it was.
I agree. I tend to agree, sir. Tend to agree.
I had to agree. And we got Fan Jexa coming through with the $1.99. His first one, he said, radio voice still? Y'all get a Go XLR and it's mayhem. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna try to do what I can. I know it's a shot at me, Adam. Okay. I know it's a shot at me. And all I'm gonna say is I hope you get well, because last I heard you had an ear infection, so you probably ain't hearing it right. So go ahead, get you some of that CGI water and Doppler that in your ear.
There you go.
And
make sure it's room temp. Make sure it's room temp.
Right. Room temp. Make sure you get help with that. Get one of the little blue ball baby nose squeegee things too.
There you go.
Yeah. Get you all the way together, man.
Side note. Side note.
Tips.
I saw an infomercial for like this new next generation ear cleaner, bro. I'm all for technology. I'm all for, you know, finding more efficient ways for, you know, to have good hygiene. But do I really need to see a commercial where this nasty mother then sucked like 3 crayons worth of earwax out of his ear and got it like, dude, like, and he was proud of it too. Like he had a napkin and had all these dots of wax on. He's like, that all just came out right now. And I'm like, that's some nasty shit, man. I ain't trying to see that. Like, that's not making me want to go out and buy your product, bro. Like, that's nasty. No.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
Infomercial, so that means it's probably on for at least 2 hours. 2-3 hours during the midnight.
Yeah, that's when I saw it. It was like something that popped up on like midnight, late night TV, and I'm like, nah, man. Like I'm cool. I appreciate it, but no. Yeah,
they probably did some corny joke too with it, but like, are you hard of hearing?
Yeah, exactly. Literally.
Can you hear us now? You might need our new earwax cleaner removal tool.
Hey, you know how I went, man.
Get the out of here.
Factual. I'm like, nah.
Y'all need to stop it. I don't know what they be doing with these info. You know who I miss? Versus Soul, Billy Mays.
Oh, come on, man.
If it was Billy Mays,
Killed
you know you would have bought it. And he would have been super loud. There's no way you can't hear me. Buy my new earwax removal tool. My man was yelling at him. You can't hear me? Now you can. Call him on the earwax. Like,
man,
everybody about to go look it up now.
Right. Where are those? I need them kind of infomercials, them in your face infomercials back.
You don't get those no more.
No, you don't. Everything's all subtle now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody on Prozac or Xanax or something now. Everybody's just chill. I don't know what they doing. But we got the homie Loa Vito coming through with a $5 holla. Thank you, sir. He said, the kings of late night YouTube. Love all my nerd vengers. I'm making a play. I'm definitely going to be ready for 3 a.m. Also, FWB. Yeah, man. It's like I'm gonna have to take the Josh stance on that. It's kind of hard. It's hard out here for a pimp when we trying to make all these reviews on WB to pay that rent.
Yeah, don't even get me started on no WB.
That Marvel
man.
money in Star Wars is spent. Got a whole lot of WBs taking shit. Most definitely. So I don't know.
You ain't no Avenger.
Yo, you right. You ain't no.
You ain't no. Oh man.
Whoop that trick and get over it.
Get over it.
But go ahead and pop them FWB emojis. Yeah, look at Vito already
on it.
By half a second. Let's see who we got next in here. We got Dario Pinor Cote. I don't know if I said that right, but
sounded good.
It did sound good. It might be one of the new names for me. Dario Pinor Cote. I don't know if I said that right. I hope I'm not butchering it, but he came through with the $20. He said, "What up, culos? I missed y'all. Get it good, my friends." See, this is the fact that he popped in culos in there and makes me know that I probably am extremely close. How I said his name. I'm probably
like I'm probably right in the general vicinity.
Right. Watch, he gonna get off the stream and be like, you know how look, hold on, this is what he said my name. This is how he said my name.
Exactly. Hey man, clip that out and make it a ringtone for your phone, bro.
Right. You can put some auto tune on it.
There you go.
You hear that phone go, Dario.
Remix.
Right. Remix. Then we got Matthew K coming through with the $5 holla. Thank you. He said that they should tease Toby and Andrew in the trailer, but not fully reveal them. Gotta address the elephant in the room, but continue to string us along. I agree with that. I would like to see them do something like that, but I don't think they're gonna do it, man. I think they're playing that real close. That Marvel play to me says you make a whole mother go to the movies and watch that. That's what you think. That's what you do. Oh, I know what that means, Whitney. Tell me what I can't say on stream. I say what the I want any time I want to, especially now that I got this whole new tool that I've been using to bless out what I say and all this types of stuff. Okay, so you leave me alone. Leave me alone. As I go on to the Citadel of Steve's with the $2 holla, he said, "Hype for the live channel. Keep delivering the sauce." You know it, man.
Oh, yes. We will always continue to do that. And if you ain't got the sauce, then that's your loss. I tell you what else. If you ain't got that Surfshark yet,
right,
you're tripping.
I don't know what's wrong with these people, man.
But 83% off and 3 months free.
Yes.
Why would you not be doing
that? I don't know.
Why would you not be doing it?
Make sure you put NERD.
Yes.
Go there so you can get that.
And get that discount.